States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda?
I do not have any questions.
I too have nothing more.
Nope.
Josh?
Nope, I don't have any.
What's that?
I don't have
No.
any.
A couple I had got answered, so is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Is
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Anyone here for public comment or input? Everybody's on the agenda, okay? First order is new business, music in the park committee, Jason and Jean Horniman. Come on up. Welcome.
Yes. As you can see in your packet, we have a proposal that we're looking at. We're looking to have a steel serving table built and installed down at the park down there. And along to go with that, we'd like to have the electrical looked into, cleaned up, updated as needed, because there's a few of the outlets down there, a little quirky. And there's a lot of the weather doors that are missing off the outlets, so we'd like to have that fixed. And if the table goes ahead, then we'd like to take two of the outlets that are in that, what would be the southwest corner, and drop them down closer to the table height. So when we have roasters lined up, then they're closer. They'll be about 15 inches per out of the tables the way they are right now.
You can see the one on your picture, it looks like it's about 2 feet taller than the,
Yeah, and that's one of them too. That's pretty typical of what's down there. You know, like I say, the weather doors are missing, so they've seen a fair amount of moisture through the years. So there's a couple of them that you gotta fiddle with a little bit, make them work. So there again. So that's kind of our thoughts. You know, the table hasn't been built. We're strictly in the process of it. The one picture shows you where we would approximately like to put it. It would stand in line with the poles, because right now the tables, we just use folding tables for serving our food down there. So we put it in line with the poles, makes it a little more accessible. Yeah, we would use it for a month's worth of time, but then it's there for everybody else to use it throughout the year as they would deem, needed. I don't know how many people use the shelter, but there again. The nearest shelter we have that has one similar to that is in Hutch at their fireman's park, but they took and ran it the full distance. It would be like on the west side of the shelter, and they went the full distance with it. We don't want to go, we'd rather not block off that much, and you don't need that much serving space. So that's why we kind of shied away from that, and this kind of fits the bill for what we like to use it for. And like I say, it will be an all stainless steel construction, just to eliminate any future maintenance needs, that kind of thing. And then we're trying to keep it as wide open as possible, because like the Hutch design, they've got slats on it, and I'm just worried with having slats or a mesh on here, it'll collect debris, leaves, that kind of thing. So that's why we've kind of went with more of a wide open type design. So it's kind of some basic dimensions that I put in there, for what the width, height. We want to have a rolled edge to it, be like a 2-inch rolled edge. So that's kind of the gist of what we're looking at. John Travis, he's the welding instructor at Bridgewater. He'll be the one that'll be building it for us. So, and the electrical, we're leaning towards, we're going to go with Major Electric. So,
I think you got on here, it's going to be anchored down.
yep. Whether it's going to be 4 anchors or 8 anchors, it depends upon the exact design, what he comes up with. but even 4 anchors is gonna be sufficient. There's gonna be a fair amount of weight to it, and that's why you wanna anchor it. That's our thought pattern anyway. And so it don't walk away either, hopefully.
Hopefully not, right?
Yeah. But it's gonna take probably, 4 or 6 good guys to lift it, because there's gonna be some weight to it.
So it was brought up at the Polacheski committee, that, what do you call it, grill? Fireplace thing, whatever you want to call it out there. It has probably not been used in years. We could probably get rid of that for safety reasons.
Yep.
We don't want anybody to be grilling on there, and it's really not safe to eat anything off of it. I mean, that's an option for getting more room on the outside for people to congregate.
Yep. Yes.
I mean, just think about it, I don't know. Then they were talking about some doors, roll-up doors. I don't know.
We mean close this in? Close the whole thing in, you mean? Or what? Oh.
No, probably not the whole thing. Just options we were talking about,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah, we've never really discussed that as a committee. We are just more this serving table.
Yep.
You know, and it eliminates Ron from bringing folding tables over.
But, yeah. And maybe at the next Polacheski meeting, we can bring it up and see what they say. I don't know. Just options.
Yep.
And they kind of said maybe the organizations could help finance if you didn't have enough money.
Yeah, that we're good with. You know, that was our intentions with doing this whole food stand up here, was to, you know, future improvements at the park.
Yep, right. Have you gone to the Legion and talked to them about it? Because it's kind of the Legion shelter type thing.
No,
Their
nothing
emblem.
officially have went there.
Okay,
We were just kind of hitting this stop first, you know, and then seeing how things would progress. Been just kind of keeping John in the loop on that side of it, you know, that we're going to council tonight, and just so he knows, you know, where we're at. And we still, June is kind of our expectations for putting it in, if it's a green light. We want to give him some build time. So, whether or not students will be involved, I don't believe so. I think he's going to build it himself. He lives in Hutch, but he's actually the instructor in Wilmer. So,
Okay,
I think it's a good idea.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Very
agree.
good.
I agree. That'll be really helpful for anybody using it, like you
Exactly.
said.
We should probably have a motion
Sure.
granting our approval to go forward with it.
I make a motion to approve Music in the Park organization going forward with constructing, installing that permanent table anchored into the shelter in the city park.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty, next one is Resolution 25-09, a resolution approving local board of appeal and equalization meeting.
So the actual resolution is a separate email because I forgot to actually put that in there. I put in the letter from the county instead.
Oh, wait, which number, 09?
Yeah.
2509.
You understand what they mean, about we're just open book, you understand that, why it's that?
Yes, yep.
What is open book?
Open, well, there's no one, God, I think I was the last one that was actually, what do you want to call it, certified to be on it. You have to have one on it, or else it just, you hear this and it actually falls back onto the county board, the assessor. We can't say yes or no. We
Yep.
give it, they want our input, that's what we have it, but we don't have the final say.
So, listening session, right?
Basically, yeah.
Yep, that makes sense.
Okay? This has been going for probably 8 years.
And it happens on our April quarterly meeting. So it's at 6 o'clock on that day, and then the quarterly meeting is at 6:30.
Perfect.
Okay, so we have a motion on that?
I move to approve the 25-09 resolution.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If If not, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next one's resolution 25-10, resolution approving workman's comp insurance premiums. That's on page, I don't know if you got it, 33.
I move to approve Resolution 2510, approving the workers' comp insurance premiums.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Not, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. So our multiplier went up, huh?
2.02, yep, from 1.58.
That's quite a bit. Okay. Next one, we'll go to old business. We'll go to the fee schedule.
And that would be safe built.
So is this the building permits, right?
Yeah.
And we're with what, Safe Build?
Yeah. Right here.
Just asking.
No, they just took over about 6 months ago, I think. They have their business. Welcome.
Good evening, thank you, everybody. I'm Al Green, I'm the account manager for Safe Build here in Minnesota, and this is Tanya Sikorsky. She's the administrative service manager for Safe Build in Minnesota here. Thanks for having us tonight. This is unusual. Usually I'm standing at a podium like in the middle of the room. So, Diane said this is in your packet, but I made copies too, so I'm gonna hand some out here. So, we're here tonight because we are proposing that you raise your building fee schedules. They have not been raised since 2018. Most municipalities look at them yearly or bi-yearly at the most, so it's been quite a while. We're recommending a gradual change. And again, this is your fee schedule, so we're only recommending and such. But if you look at the rationale here, I'm not going to go through every one of these because we'll probably be here all evening then. But things like the maintenance permits for residential roofing, siding, windows, and doors, we're recommending that you go from 50 to 75. Single inspection trip permits for residential plumbing and mechanical work, we're recommending that you go from 40 to 65. And this is Safe Built hired an outside company to look at all our communities around the country, look at their fee schedules, and compare them to cities around you, so they're comparable. So you don't want to be the highest because you want development. You want developers to come in and build houses and do commercial development here. You don't want to be the lowest either. So we're recommending somewhere in the middle. Zoning fees. For permits that utilize Safe Built inspectors, we're recommending going from 50 to 75. The seasonal swimming pool zoning fee is already 75. A move-in house fee that was we added to distinguish moved-in homes from moved-in other structures, and the moved-in structure fee remains at 200. The move-in house and manufactured home flat fees, we're recommending update to 275 from anywhere between 200 and 250. The residential site inspection fee, we're recommending from 45 to 65. The commercial site inspection fee from 45 to 95. Reinspection fees and hourly rates were updated I'll give you another page with that on it. And then the valuation table permits to 75 to raise the fees for the remaining permit valuation categories incrementally. You'll see the comparison spreadsheet in a minute for that. And then we remove some fees which weren't applicable anymore. Any questions so far? I know I'm going pretty fast here.
Well, basically all these you're talking about aren't driven by the fee schedules. I mean, which one are we still on? 94?
You're like 2018 is the last time you updated your building fee schedule. I don't know about.
Well, when you go through it, when you have to base what's even written right on here.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
94.
94,
Yeah.
okay.
The updated one is 97 plus 10%.
Right.
So this first pass out is your current fees. If you want to pass those down. And then this one
I think these, I got all these.
I think they're in your packet, yeah. These are your proposed. Here, you need one more. And then there's a comparison spreadsheet. I killed a couple trees on this.
Oh, we're good here, we've got an extra.
Oh, that's okay. You guys want to keep it or whatever. So, anyway, so the first one that doesn't have the red is your current building fee schedule that you're using. The second one is the proposed. It has red proposed at the top. And you could see in red as you go down the recommendations that we're making. So for example, if you go to, let's see, let's start. If you go to the second page, the maintenance permit fee for 1 and 2 single-family dwellings and accessory structures for a re-roof, recommending going from 50 to 75, a re-side from 50 to 75, re-window, same thing, and garage doors and so on. Then your plumbing permit fees and your mechanical permit fees. So we tried to make it as easy as possible for you all to follow this. And again, then these are comparable with surrounding municipalities.
When you say comparable, are they like in line?
In line,
Identical?
yeah. Not always identical. Like I say, this is your fee schedule. Some of the municipalities, dependent if they want to have more development, whatever, they may lower some fees for commercial, to bring in commercial and such. I think I did send Diane a while ago a fee that had the a spreadsheet that had the surrounding communities and their fees on there too. If that's not in your packet, I didn't bring that tonight. I could actually get that to Diane for you guys to look at also.
That would be great.
In that, okay. Jot myself a note, and I forgot my pen. Thanks. It's back in my briefcase though. So if you look at this multicolored sheet, that looks at your valuation table, and it shows the valuations from a $500 valuation up to $1 million. And basically with the new fee that we're recommending, if you look at the fourth column, it will show you the difference. And basically, so on a $500 valuation, the difference would be $66. And in 2023 and 2024, there were 3 permits for that amount in 2023 and 2 permits for that in 2024. For the 1,000 and up valuation, it would be a $43.31 difference. There were no permits in 23 or 24 for that. And then for the 2,000, it's actually a little bit less. It would be $2.06 less. And so on. So, and one more handout here. This is information that tracks your permits and your inspections for the last year through 2024. Give you a minute to look at that. So the first page there shows there were 46 permits issued for the city. 66 inspections completed, 48 of those passed, and that's a 72.73% pass rate, which is very average. Then you can see by month the number of permits, the number of inspections, and the number of inspections completed. And then the next page just for you breaks down your residential and your commercial. So out of the 66 inspections, 58 were residential and 8 were commercial, and you can see by month how those occurred. So that kind of gives you an overview of everything that's happening here in the city for the last year. And I know I've gone through this real quick and I didn't go through everything, so we're going to leave it with you, let you ingested and such. I'm sure you're going to have some questions. You can get those to Diane, and Diane can get those to us there. But do you have any questions off?
Well, I still
offhand?
was wondering about which, it was always the, it was the 94 fee schedule. What are you basing this on now?
The valuation table,
Yeah,
it's the 1997. Now, the new one is based on the 1997.
well, okay, that
Plus
doesn't,
10%. I'm sorry, what?
Plus 10%.
Plus
Yeah.
the 10%.
okay. Why do you want to go plus 10%? Just what's the rationale behind that?
That's what we're doing within the state, for the most part. Other questions?
What's driving the increases mostly?
Well, since 1998, the cost of everything has gone up.
I guess if you're going back that
As,
far, yeah.
as you know, so your costs have gone up, your internal costs too. We do a split, so our fees are anywhere between, depending on what the permit fee is, 65% up to 80% of that permit and such. So, your internal fees have increased. Also, but so of ours are, cost, our inspectors have gotten raises, the cost of gas has gone up, they're all provided cars, cost of insurance has gone up, cost of medical benefits have gone up and such too,
Sure.
so, but it's a share with the city, so it covers some of Diane's costs and such too, so.
We find too that the cities that do it annually or, every 2 years can do it in smaller increments rather than, waiting 10 years and all of a sudden it's a big jump. I know you have a city in Illinois that had to raise theirs and it was
222%. It was pretty significant, but they realized they were actually, the city was covering part of the costs of the permit because they hadn't raised fees in so long, and our fees had gone up to the city, so they were covering part of it, which should never be the case. It should be break even, or there should be enough to cover administrative fees in the city. So. Questions? I know I threw a lot of data at you.
So you didn't change the plan review costs or anything like that? Is that still the same, 65%?
Our fees to you are staying the same, yeah, those are not changing. The fees that you pay us, these are just the fees that the homeowners, the contractors, business owners will pay to the city should you choose to go with this new fee schedule we're recommending.
So if you build a house for $500,000, it's going to cost you $5,867.32. Is that right?
Shovels around.
in that-
Which
yeah, in
which
that
page
range,
did you get
yeah.
In that range.
On that colorful.
Oh, that colored one?
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
When did, so you're newer to Silver Lake as far as the name, right? So how long have these increases been kind of rolling around the state? Has there been any, have you noticed an increase or decline in any activity due to that? I know we have economic
Yeah,
factors beyond that, but has this had an impact on any towns or municipalities seeing a reduction in any of this?
no, I haven't seen any.
Of course, the pandemic, we saw our numbers go up because people were putting money into their homes because they weren't going anywhere. They weren't going on vacations and things like that. That's kind of leveled off. Last year in Minnesota overall, most of the communities saw a small drop in inspections or permits in general, and that. But talking to many of the cities, what they have coming up in 2025 is well going to exceed what they did in 2024. Now, that's unique. I also cover Illinois and Wisconsin, and they were pretty steady. So why, in other parts of the country, I've talked to my counterparts in other parts of the country that were some were up, some were down, but why Minnesota was down for a Midwestern state when Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, Ohio, were either steady or up.
We kind of
So-
attributed that a lot to it being an election year and people just kind of
That's,
taking a step back and, waiting to see what they wanted to do, where they wanted to spend their money.
yeah, that's what a lot of administrators told me also, election year. Plus, mortgage rates are, we're through the roof. They're down a little bit now, but they're still,
Yeah, what expenses.
still pretty high. So for those expensive homes in the $500,000 and up, people are still building them. For the, your starter homes and things like that, that's where people can't afford a 6 or 7% mortgage. So that affected, but a lot of companies, nationwide companies like Pulte and such, they're doing buy downs on the mortgage and such to kind of help spur their developments and things like that. But with the election, who knows? Who knows what we're going to see? So, other questions that you have? Like I say, I know I went very quickly. I'm from Chicago, I talk quick. I threw a lot of information in front of you. There's a lot to look at here, so we'll let you look at it. You're probably going to have some questions. Filter those through. Diane, if I don't know the answer, I'll go to the source that has it, and we'll get back to you. And again, if you want to tweak these a little bit, again, these are recommendations from us. This is what we're recommending to other communities surrounding Winstead and Glencoe and such.
Who do you all inspect for right around here?
So,
Winstead, Lester Prairie, Glencoe, Plato, Amber, Maple Lake would be the furthest west.
Yeah, you don't do Hutchinson.
No, they have their own building department.
That's right.
Oh, Watertown.
More towards the city, Sue?
Yeah.
we have about 40 accounts in the state of Minnesota between the Twin Cities and the Rochester area. So ranging in size. and such.
Furthest north is Princeton. Farthest south is Spring
Spring
Valley.
Valley.
So you guys do I didn't know that you did the fire suppression permits and stuff. You guys are doing that now? Or the other guys didn't?
It's
not a state?
I believe the fire suppression is in your contract. I don't know if
Right.
you've done it
Well, I was just
recently,
wondering.
have you? Yeah.
Okay.
We do it if the local jurisdiction wants us to. Some fire departments have their own chiefs that want to do it, but if they don't have that capacity, then we do it for them.
Okay.
Do you have a timeline that we have to move on something? Do an act?
For
to
this?
approve? Yeah.
We would like it implemented probably by the end of April or whatever, so.
Okay, we should look through it.
Absolutely, you need to look,
Right.
dive into it, and I'm sure you're going to have some questions. It's pretty thorough. We gave you a lot of information and such. And I will, I'll send that sheet tomorrow morning to Diane to get it. I may have sent it months ago when we first started talking about this, but I didn't.
My
print
question
out
on
the-
this this is just a small little example.
Mhm.
You got in here a permit for, if someone was gonna change the garage door to same size. Do you guys actually inspect that?
Yes,
You do?
yes.
You don't take pictures, you actually come out and do it?
We come out and do it. We do have the capabilities of doing what we call a blitz inspection. If for some,
Like a virtual?
yep, if the homeowner or the contractor prefers it that way, we can certainly do it that way. Only for specific inspections, though. They have to be able to,
You can do
There's
like a
certain
water heater
yeah,
and
there's certain
things like that small.
criteria that our guys will only do those inspections on. But at every inspection that the contractor calls us for, or the homeowner calls us for, we do come out and do. A lot of times with Brooks, they're moving so fast, we like to do it in progress. In the last few years, a lot of the contractors have gotten away from calling for that in progress, and they've been taking pictures of the ice and water, we will accept those as long as we can, tell that it's that particular house. And the guys will still come out, take a look at the roof, look at the ice and water photographs on their tablets, and then either pass or not pass the roof permit that way.
Okay.
But they are still coming out and doing those inspections in person.
Under your plumbing permit fees, you got new fixtures and you got fixture replacements. Tell me what you mean by fixture replacement.
So,
You can, I mean, I think I know, but I mean, you can get after 8 fixtures, you get them for $80, but you're gonna want 65 for one, if someone was just gonna change one.
The new fixture fee is like for a new home, so that somebody's not paying, $65 for every single fixture they're putting in the house. They're getting those first,
8.
the first 8 fixtures for $80, and then anything after that. A regular fixture replacement would be like a toilet, or just, somebody's having to replace their toilet. They're just getting the one fixture replacement fee of $65. And in a new home, there'd be more than one inspection. For new fixtures, there would be like the rough-ins, and then there would be the finals. So it's a case of 2 trips as opposed to just one.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I look at some of these things like this. If somebody's gonna change their toilet, they're not gonna call in for a permit to change their toilet.
Or a new refrigerator, or new appliances.
Well, appliances isn't a refrigerator. It's like a water heater, furnace, that type of thing. Water softener.
The only reason I'm saying is I try to make these things friendly so people do call for them.
mhm. Yeah, and if you don't, you should have information on your website of what requires an inspection. Like getting a new refrigerator or a new stove, that doesn't. A regular garage door wouldn't, but if they're changing it from a 2-bay to a 1-bay garage.
So if you're gonna get real technical, you're gonna tell me that someone's supposed to get a permit to change a toilet, but if they get a new gas stove to hook gas up to it, they don't need it.
If it's a replacement and they're just unhooking and rehooking, no.
So wouldn't they be doing that with a faucet? I'm just trying to make this user-friendly, that's all.
I understand that, but I'm not-
More or less, if they're redoing the bath, this is what the state requires. If they're redoing the bathroom and moving the tub and the shower.
Oh,
and
what they
things like
move
that.
it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's just like putting a new toilet in,
Yeah, so if somebody was, like, on the fixture replacement, just using that example, is rehabbing a home, they're renovating it, and they're
Yeah.
putting in 4 new toilets. Is it 65 for a toilet? Is what-
If-
Again, it's not new construction, we're not talking new,
Right.
where it's,
If it stays in the same
Technically-
place?
Technically, it's fixture replacement unless they're doing it as part of a whole rehab. And then, it could be included in part of like the valuation. So I mean, it would depend on what they're doing as a whole.
so that might
project.
fall under another
Mhm.
process, or
Yeah.
whatever you call it.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying, we should look at some of them, where you've got them raised, where maybe we keep some a little lower, just so people will actually do it.
Yeah, considering what
Right.
typically.
I'm sure there's things that happen that people don't call you that you don't
Well, right.
know about,
Yeah.
If we're out and about and we see construction going on, guys will stop and say, hey, you need to get a permit for this. But interior, you don't know, some cases.
So you're saying these that you have listed are state required?
Yes.
Yes.
I do agree some definitions would be helpful. Because if I read this, I would think, oh, if I'm putting in a new toilet, I need to get that inspected.
Right.
And technically you do.
Apparently, yes.
But you can hook your gas stove up all you want.
Apparently.
We can send you, or I can send you the definition.
With a cigarette.
I'll send them to Diane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Right.
To have as a resource.
Yeah. Just something to-
So it's nice to
Reference
educate the
back to.
public. So if they come in, they know what they really gotta get one for.
Yeah, yeah, but it is very, it confuses me, and I'm doing it. She works closer with it every day, so, and that, but, and her staff, but, yeah, it is confusing. Yeah. Any other questions?
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
All right.
so we will get you that other
Sure.
information.
Perfect.
If there are questions, get them to Diane, she can get them to us. We will get you answers as soon as possible and go from there. And I think I handed out my cards too. You're welcome to contact me directly if need be.
Sure.
Okay?
Perfect.
Thank you for your
Yeah,
time.
thank
Very
you.
much. Likewise.
Bye.
And stay warm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you too.
I'm going home to heat wave tomorrow. It's 5 degrees warmer there.
Oh, wow, nice.
Okay, the next item we have is the bulk water rates.
So I'm just looking to get that put on the fee schedule, so, looking for the $15 per 1,000 gallons for in-town, $20 per 1,000 gallons for out-of-town, the $60 per month for the meter rental. And those are, so when I contacted cities around us, a lot of them just use whatever their water rate is. Most of them don't say we have a bulk water rate, and I think Hutch is the only one who had a meter rental, so.
Didn't we used to have a meter rental? But then when they returned it in this fall, they got the money back?
No, that's outdoor water. We're
Well,
talking bulk.
The one that
Oh,
I.
bulk.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
I
one that I
understand now.
contacted, like I showed you, the neighboring community, a little bit farther away, they were $25 for bulk rate. At least that's what they had posted on their internet. This is what we discussed last time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought we agreed on it last time.
No.
Yeah, I thought the rate was right. So it's just the,
No, we didn't
Just the meter.
make a motion, but I thought, we
no,
thought,
but the meter was the only, wasn't it the only question last time? Like confirming that was the only thing? Is that still the case?
Evidently the bulk water rate also, because that's in red, right?
right.
Yeah, so it's, the 15's in town
20's out.
and 20's out. And we were talking, there was questions about process too, like where it's gonna go, where they're hooking up, location stuff, so I don't know if that's,
That wouldn't be under a fee schedule.
no, it wouldn't be there now, but that's just, I'm just rehashing where we were at the other meeting.
But you know, if you look at, like, at the other one that you used as an example, they used the regular rate, but then look at all the add-ons. $20 per load, this one, $20. They add for, we aren't adding for any of that other stuff.
No, and if somebody needs it just for, they're doing a weekend project, it's gonna be $60 regardless, is that what we're saying too?
Plus the water.
Plus the water, exactly. You know, I think we talked like pool filling.
Yep.
It's gonna be $60 plus water. Which is still probably good. Compared to running the garden hose.
But in turn, we have to buy a big meter, you know.
Right, we have to get that too, which is,
Okay?
So do you need a motion?
Yep.
I move
If you
to-
adopt this is the final fee schedule, so that would be included.
right, the last one.
I move to go with the bulk water rate of $15 to $20 and the meter rental per month of $60.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. All right, let's move on to department business. First one is Public Works, and SEH is first.
Hello Hello, everyone.
Hello.
You're not sick of seeing me yet, are you?
Not yet.
Not yet. Give it a couple months. Okay, I think we'll just start with the resolution. So we had a special meeting last week and a workshop the week before. I hope the resolution's in your guys' packet.
It is, I actually started with Braun Intertech.
Oh, let's start with the resolution and work our way back.
Okay.
Because really, we should probably award the project before
So
we
that's
talk
page
about it.
62.
But share with the council what you changed on it. Damn.
Oh, I think that the only change he made was probably from city administrator. to
Right.
city clerk.
The
Yeah.
wording's wrong.
Yeah, that was our fault, and Brody caught that.
And what did you change? I'm sorry.
Bullet 1, it says the
Oh.
mayor and the city administrator, that should say the mayor and the city clerk.
Yep, okay. You
So-
changed that already? You will be changing that?
I did change it.
Okay.
So this resolution just gives the authority to Mayor Bebo and the city clerk to sign contracts for the project. It also authorizes the award of the project to R&R in its entirety, so base bid plus all the alternates.
Anybody have any questions from before, from our meeting the other night? I don't.
No, I think we,
I think we hashed it over pretty good.
We've gone over it a couple times.
Okay? We need a motion. Wait, we did get the letter, right? Because that's
We
based.
did get the letter of concurrence from rural development on Friday. Yep.
Okay.
I move to approve the resolution 25-11 for accepting the bid for the infrastructure project.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Okay, the first thing that, this is not in your packet, the first thing that we will need Mayor Bebo and Diane to sign is the notice of award. So this notice of award is just notifying R&R that they have been awarded the project, so they can start their paperwork on signing their parts of the contract. So we'll send over 4 contracts to R&R, they're 1,000 pages long, and they'll have to sign at each individual spot. They'll also have to send it to their bond counsel and their insurance providers for them to sign. Then they'll send it back to us, then we'll send it to you guys for the city attorney to review. Then they'll have to sign some things, and then Bruce and Diane will have to sign a few things. And then we'll send it over to rural development, and they'll have a few things to sign, and then that should be it.
So this, in theory, should all take place within the next month?
Within the next month or so. So in general, about 2 weeks or so for R&R to review the documents and to sign the contracts. Maybe about a week for Ken and Lori to review and sign their parts of the contract, and then and Bruce and Diane to sign theirs. And then about another 2 weeks for rural development to review and sign and give final green light. So I sent over that general schedule to rural development this morning. I'll back up a little bit. On Friday, I gave Ryan Llewellyn a call, who was on our call for the workshop, and it went straight to voicemail, so I thought that was kind of weird. So then I called his boss and said, hey, I'm just waiting for the letter of concurrence so we can go ahead and award the project. He said, well, Ryan doesn't work with rural development anymore because of the mass layoffs that are being seen, in federal government. So he was on the probation period. He only had been at rural development for less than a year, so he was immediately let go. So they found a replacement for him really quickly.
Somebody within?
Somebody within, Lori Ballata. So she's been filling in his place. So she's been great to work with in the last, let's say, 24 hours. She did want us, she agreed with the timeline, agreed with everything. Everything looks fine. There is one thing that could throw a wrench into things. They have a continuing resolution that expires on March 14th that allows federal employees to work. That continuation resolution has not been renewed. So on March 14th, if another one doesn't get passed, they will be furloughed, and they will not be able to review and sign documents, potentially.
Are you talking about the whole place, or what?
I'm talking about all federal employees might be furloughed all non-essential federal employees might be furloughed if the continuing resolution does not get passed. Now, this has happened on a previous project that we were a part of in Olivia in 2022, where they were threatening that, you know, we might be shut down. Lo and behold, days before that March 15th date, they passed a resolution to continue the contract. So we're hoping that's what happens. That's what she's hoping for. There's a couple of situations that we could run through if this does go through, if the continuing resolution does not go through. The way that this is set up is that we will be doing interim financing through Minnesota Rural Water Association for the beginning of the project. So we don't have to pull any funds from rural development to start the project. So there might be a workaround where we could work directly with Minnesota Rural Water without USDA's approval to administer the funds. So that's one workaround. The other workaround that Lori mentioned, she's with Rural Development, is that one of their employees might be placed on an essential role where they will be allowed to continue to work while the rest of federal employees are furloughed. That would allow current contracts that are currently, construction projects that are currently in place to continue and be paid. That would also apply to ours. So I just wanted to get on your radar that there is a small chance that there might be a little hiccup with rural development, but I'd say that the odds are like 5% that it's a serious issue. But that 5% would mean that, you know, the applications wouldn't be processed, and Minnesota Rural Water will not be willing to pay it. So there's a small chance that the project beginning could be delayed until those federal employees are back into action. Just want to get on your radar, but there's nothing we can really do about it at this
But you'll
point.
keep us informed?
Absolutely. Yep.
And again, I think this kind of came up in that call with Ryan too, that it's not the fact that funding is there, so it's
in a
more of
bank account.
time issue.
It's in a bank
Because
account.
It's been approved and allocated.
Yeah, the issue that,
Appropriated, excuse me.
it's appropriated. The issue that we would run into is that we wouldn't have anybody to administer those dollars and cents.
At
When-
the time of,
At the time of
Need.
construction, when we
Yeah.
need to go and pay R&R, rural development won't have anybody to say, yep, go ahead, pay them. That would be the issue, and the money's there, it's ready to roll. But like I said, there's maybe some workarounds with Minnesota Rural Water, there's maybe workarounds with USDA having an essential employee stick around. And all this to say, it might not happen at all if they actually pass a continuing resolution to let all federal employees continue to work. That's the most likely scenario, and that's what's happened before. So, not to scare everybody.
So I guess my question on all that is, you said it's March 14th?
March 14th is the date, and that's a Friday, so March 17th, they're not showing up to work if it hasn't gotten passed.
So what they told you from here, either they're considered possibly essential, or it's all or nothing, as far as workers in here. It's not like, oh, Jane, you can stay, this person,
It would be a discrete number of rural development employees that are considered essential. So it would probably be just like one or two at the state that stick around. And they would be the ones processing pay applications.
well, yeah, I mean, one or two, even if there's one or two, are they gonna be able to pull it off? If there's more than
I
that,
think
they
it would be a
shouldn't get it.
situation where we send in the pay applications and they pretty much just have to take our word for it because they'll be swamped.
The only thing I'm gonna say is I wanna make sure we're clear when you say we can work around, and that's great. But let's make sure we don't mess something up.
Yep.
By
Yep.
saying, oh, you started that without,
Yep. Yep, and I've talked all this through with Lori, and she said the same things, that, you know, if you go for an application, we will reimburse it if it's all eligible and it's all, you know, part of the project. And we wouldn't issue a pay application that is not part of the project. We wouldn't allow it. So it's a pretty safe bet that it would get reimbursed. I don't know at what time. Let's say they don't have any essential employees and we have to go with the Minnesota Rural Water route. She didn't give me any time period as for how long they'd be laid off, because she doesn't know. So,
Nobody would know.
right?
yeah, and yeah, I mean, rural development's kind of in turmoil right now, and this current administration kind of throws a wrench into things. So, you know, in the past, it's been, you know, Ryan said it, that it's been 100% certainty, and now it's just doesn't feel that way, even though it still is, you know, up to this point, it just feels a little more wavery. So, okay. that's that update. We will continue to press on though, so we'll get over all the copies to R&R for them to process and sign, and then we'll get it back to you guys. And we'll okay, let's talk about Braun Intertech's proposal, unless you guys have any other questions about the resolution and awarding the project and next steps.
I'm just gonna stress, we all want this to go forward, I just don't wanna say let's not do any workarounds that are gonna endanger anything.
Yep, I 100% agree. If we do any sort of workarounds, we need to have buy-in from rural development prior to, and we'll also need to have buy-in from Minnesota Rural Water prior to.
Well, the problem you're struggling with is you don't know if that person you're talking to is gonna be there.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, Braun Intertech's proposal is identical to the last one, except for the one comment that we made to them about their basis of scope of work. It would be, now it's the first and second bullet point. We modified this just to say that it's, visits about 3 per week on a varied basis to provide multiple services, and that it's approximately 7 months in 2025, 7 months in 2026, and 4 months in 2027. Previously, it had said that it's 48 weeks, which was incorrect.
Right.
This comes to about 78 weeks. We looked at their numbers again. I think it was just a simple typo. I think that they had a fat finger. Instead of putting 78, they put 48. So hopefully this spells it out a little bit better for you guys. And ultimately, that doesn't really matter. Honestly, what matters is their unit rates and how frequently they come out here. That's what they'll bill to.
Well, see, so my question is, you guys had estimated like $50,000 under this. Do you feel that the reason for this is that they're gonna be doing more inspections, you think? That you guys didn't think it was gonna be?
I think a lot of that is simply because the way that we calculate is based on total construction cost. And the total construction cost, since we have such a big project, you can get away with doing a lot more testing and inspections on one trip. Usually we go with like 0.1% of the total construction cost is materials testing and special inspections. But that's usually for like a 1 or 2 block scenario, and we use that for this, and I think that's what did that. And this is just where it came in at. So, I mean, it's what it is, I suppose.
Well, it's because you don't live here. Well, no, I mean, that was a joke. That was a joke.
So that's cool.
What I'm saying is, but it's also a good thing to note that, when maybe as a city, we're asking the contractor to do certain things, we might also be incurring more inspections.
Yep.
Because instead of being
there's
able to
soft
do.
costs that are associated
Yeah,
with doing additional work, certainly. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Not additional work, but maybe not in their sequence
Yeah.
that they would normally do. Where they could get the trips, do
And
more.
do multiple things. Yep.
Right. So we have to keep that in mind. Okay? So do we need any,
Maybe a motion to approve it so we can get it signed and
Yeah.
back over to Braun.
so we need a motion on Braun Intertech's bid.
Move to approve the Braun Intertech bid for the materials and soil testing for the infrastructure project.
And what was it,
For the amount?
yeah, 118?
For the amount?
180.
$180,284.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any other discussion? Not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried.
Okay,
Okay.
guys. Any other questions with the project lingering out there? Okay, great.
Rabbit's foot.
What's that?
Rub the rabbit's foot.
Rub the rabbit's
Yeah.
foot
Yeah.
and, yep, pick as many 4-leaf clovers as you can.
Okay.
All right.
Take care.
All right, see you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Sam.
you.
All right, we'll move on to the liaison report.
All right. Met with Chris the other day. He has obtained his pool operator's license, and that's good for 5 years. I think he had mentioned that possibly having John go for his next year. They're reviewing the sewer jet schedule for this year. kind of trying to get up to date on like which roads or which sections they need to do so they can kind of do the loop of town over a course of 5 years or whatever. We've been reviewing the pool safety equipment and procedures with both state and local laws. The street sweeper repairs have been completed. They've been continuing to organize the shop and records needed for the city operations, getting everything all nice and neat over there.
They get the payloader fixed?
No, not yet. They took whatever part that was
The
to
cylinder.
the shop,
Yeah.
so.
That's nice that, what you call it, Pokonowski's letting us use one in case we need it. Was nice.
Mhm. Some other things we kind of touched on. Safe Assure is going to be doing a kind of a mock OSHA visit next month, just kind of so they can see what stuff they need to improve on as far as like safety stuff and whatnot.
Just at the shop? Or everything that they interact with?
That part, I guess,
I was
I
curious.
forget is, I think it's around the shop.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And then he's working on a plan for like going around the ponds because according to, I think there's a certain height that the grass is supposed to be kept at, and previously it's been like collected for hay by farmers or something. So what he's thinking is having the John Deere tractor out, or mower out there every couple
mean-
weeks or whatever.
You know, our little lawn tractor,
Yep.
cutting that whole big deal that they were baling. The little-
Must be just around the ponds though, not the whole thing.
Yep, a certain, I don't know what the requirement is, but around there to keep the,
Isn't it, they got that other tractor they can do it with?
you mentioned that that one is a little bit too fast for the speed that the blades are or whatever.
Well, they're not, he's not talking about cutting the 15 acres or
No,
whatever.
no, no, just around the ponds.
Well, but around the ponds by how much? 30 feet out?
No, I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
Basically, that's done to keep pests down, because
Right.
the pest can cause damage to the liners and all that kind
Right.
of stuff.
More of that.
And then the last snow removal went all right. He said there was like 10 or so cars still parked in the streets. And I believe that is it for what I have there.
Saw the notices out there a couple times. Email, online, and give people heads up.
Mm-hmm.
Does that go on the electronic billboard too? Or no? Probably wouldn't. Probably wouldn't get any attention. Move your cars.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for the liaison? Anything on people services? It's kind of nice that they're giving us the printout of the chemicals they're using now.
Yep. They don't use fluoride, is that right? They do not?
I thought they do.
It's listed here, but there's no amount. Did they just not purchase any? Like they had some on hand?
No idea.
Well, it says it below is the usage and costs, but there's nothing indicated.
Maybe they,
Are you on 60, page 65?
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm just curious about that also.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I suppose
I
maybe
just sworn it was
maybe
in
they
the
just didn't have to
report.
purchase it.
Maybe. It says usage too, which is weird. So maybe that's on a different report though.
Well, the one up on top is, the usage is 0,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the one, whatever that.
and the phosphate
Yeah.
credit. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? If not, we're gonna move on to public safety.
Okay, so for fire department, I did connect with Dale. Looking through the report here, so in the month of January, city had 10 medicals, Hale Township had 2 medicals, 2 fires, Rich Valley had 3 medicals. We also did a mutual aid with Cokato for a commercial structure fire, mutual aid for Hutchinson for a residential structure fire. There are new turnout gear, 10 sets arriving for 10 firefighters. The budget meeting was held with the townships on February 12th. I wasn't able to be there, but I spoke with Dale about it. He said it went very well. There were no concerns on the contracts.
I was there. Diane was there.
Yep. Anything you want to add?
No, they were very, very positive, I guess.
That's good.
Best way to put it.
That's good, that's good.
They didn't question the budgets at all. It was a good question and answer. They asked questions on like how it's used,
Yeah, for sure.
but that's good.
That's good, good. They had the meat raffle during ice golf. The
And that
lines-
went very well.
Did it?
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, we were done about 2:30.
Awesome.
Oh, really?
After 2.
How many did you go through?
24.
Fantastic. Good deal.
Yep.
And there has been progress working with City Hall on tracking expenses and donations as well. I do also have something I talked to Dale about too. There was a news article, you may or may not have seen it out there, about changes OSHA is making to requirements for fire departments, which is currently in the approval process as I understand it, so it's not on the books yet, but they're talking about it. That would be very impactful for rural fire departments if it goes through. Basically, part of it, the main part that we're concerned about is fire trucks needing to be replaced every 10 years,
Can you imagine that?
which
Toledo.
would not be sustainable for a fire department of this size and budget. So, obviously, huge concern. I'm not sure why they think that's a good idea, to be honest. In like large cities where they're using their trucks a lot, they do replace them that often, but for rural fire departments, absolutely not. We're not using the trucks that much. So Dale just encourages reaching out to your representatives to express your concerns.
Yeah, hopefully that comes at
Yeah, that's
it's like classified different
absolutely.
categorized or,
yes,
you know.
where they can.
volume of calls.
Yes, because like we have inspections on the fire trucks to make sure they're in good working order. We don't put the miles on that trucks in the cities do. They're not running as much.
Right.
They're not getting used as much. So hopefully, I know a lot of people have concerns about it. I think the news article interviewed the chief from Cokato. He's also concerned, so.
Like
Just-
Dale said at that meeting, you know, there could be, I don't want to use the term up north, but there's probably a lot of places that don't keep up with their fire trucks like these people around here. You know, they get them, like she said, inspected all the time, kept up to date. There's probably a bunch of them that just,
Sit.
well, not sit, but last time we had them inspected was 15 years ago or something, you know?
And that's problematic, I get that. But I know they're really on top of inspecting our trucks, so,
Mhm.
yeah. So, just an update on that. Anything else on fire department before I move on? Okay, sheriff's report, we have our numbers from January there, as well as the hours for January. I did connect with Chief Deputy Ward. We had the question on parking violations from the December report, where they were categorized as parking. I asked about those. His answer is yes, they are all tied to enforcement of the snow ordinance. In December, they issued 2 warnings on the 19th, and then 4 citations issued on the 22nd. So they are following up on that. I don't have, looks like there was one in January as well. So just an update on that. I also connected with him about getting involved with kids in the community. I know that's something we brought up at the beginning of the year. Couple things. Last Friday, they spent the day at Lakeside Elementary for their Winterfest. He also mentioned being involved at National Night Out again. That'll be on the books for the Tuesday after Polocheski Days, as well as Polocheski Days itself. He was wondering if there's any other annual events that the city has scheduled that we would like them involved in.
Well, we always did, which was brought up, the rodeo.
The rodeo.
Well, yeah, we brought that up. That's it, basically, the PD used to do it in conjunction with the Lions.
The bike.
They give the bikes away.
Bicycle.
Oh, yep, yep.
They call it a bike rodeo, that's.
Bike rodeo,
It's-
okay, okay.
It's not Silver Lakes terms, it's just what it's called.
Okay, okay.
And all it really is on their end of it is if they're gonna do it, I'm sure you know, we'd have to notify whoever, but they just basically put it on, stand there and make sure the kids know what they're doing. I mean,
Well, they
they put up a little course.
way on the safety of riding the bicycle.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Perfect. I'll ask about that. He said he was gonna ask, they were gonna talk about other ideas. He also mentioned that there's a youth ATV safety class that he encourages parents to sign their kids up for. That's on March 29th from 9 to 3. You do have to pre-register. There's
Where at?
On there, I think you have to call or email someone. The information is on their Facebook page. But I also,
No, but I mean, where are they doing the training?
where are they doing it? I have a screenshot on my phone I can find.
We should get that. I think that'd be a
Posted?
good, that'd be a good thing to put on that board.
Yeah, I agree. Looks like it's at the fairgrounds on the 29th. Kids must be at least 11 years of age. They pre-complete a online safety course, and then they can get dropped off the day of by their parent or guardian to sign off paperwork first. But yeah, I'll see if we can get a copy of that to hang up. That would be good. That's what I have for Sheriff's Department.
Okay?
Ambulance Department, looking at the report here, meeting was held on February 13th. Members have been working on ideas to use the state revenue grant, which is the $51,000. They have started the first item of taking the rig in to look through if anything should need replacing in the next few years. It was taken into Sam's Tire, which is DOT certified in Glencoe, and they're going to work on a few more repairs in the near future. They purchased new pagers, since the current pagers are Series 5 and slowly dying out. The Series 7 pagers were purchased from DSC in Wilmer. They got 15 of them, and this allows for the current ambulance members who are having problems with their pagers currently to get replaced, and then for backups.
Can you find out what they spent on those?
I think it was
On the
in
pagers?
I think it was in the consent agenda. I want to say
The
7,000.
pagers were $7,625.
7,000 what?
$625.
New warming gear will be purchased for EMTs, so stocking caps, gloves, gaiters for face for the winter elements. And members have been delegated out to receive quotes for updating all of the lights on the rig to LED, including the light bar. Stab-proof vests are being looked at for all members of the ambulance as well.
What was that last one?
The stab-proof vests are being looked at as well.
No, that makes, I'm gonna be really frank, that makes sense. The last time they were talking about bulletproof vests.
Yes.
The stab, they make a lot of sense for an
Yes.
ambulance.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with that.
Because that's on the agenda for the Lions also.
Yes.
Donate.
Yes, we appreciate that. Staffing as of 2/12 is as follows: 7 EMRs with 2 on standby, 8 EMTs with 3 currently on standby. You can strike out item C here, that is not current. 1 EMR is currently enrolled in the bridge course to EMT in Hutchinson, 1 EMR currently enrolled at South Central. There are currently 4 crews with active rotation. In January, there were 15 calls with 1 no transport, compared to the previous year, also 15 calls, but 3 no transport. Year-to-date, as of 2/12, there were 19 calls with 1 no transport, compared to last year, 24 calls with 7 no transport. Also, as far as the billing side goes, we have received payment through December through expert billing, and Chris is still working on looking into some of the outstanding accounts from last year.
So we've decided not to pursue it?
I think I plan on still looking into other options. Our contract with expert billing goes through the end of the year, but I want to connect with, the name right now is escaping me, but the one name we've heard from most of the surrounding ambulance services who have had mostly positive things to say about it. I want to get in contact with them and get some more information. One of the ambulance services did send me the contact information for someone at that company, so. Because yes, I want to look into it more, because we have had a multitude of issues.
So it's through December?
Through December, yes.
So in other words, that should have been, I know at one point, they couldn't figure out the final numbers on the budget or anything because they didn't have that. Now Chris has got all that.
Yep.
Okay?
That is what I have for public safety.
Any questions for? If not, we're gonna move on. Municipal, do you have a question, or are we moving on?
Nope, I just say we're moving on.
Okay, moving on. Liquor store
Talking out loud.
liaison.
So I met with Wyatt, we went over as much as we could. Stuff on his list is one thing that I asked him a bunch of other questions about. Some other issues and circumstances that we're working on, but as far as numbers, I figured I'd go through these numbers, because we have Decembers, we didn't have these for the last meeting. Is December in there for?
It was sent out by email.
Everybody got it by an
December
email.
one, okay. Anyways, December didn't end awful, just as a month, they netted 3,300 in profit. Not where I would have expected, but it stopped the streak of the previous 3 months' losses. So that was good. There's obviously the moving out of some of those funds at the end of the year anyway, so that did affect that net, but still they did okay. Some of the questions that came up were basically his inventory levels from his operating. There was concerns with invoices being paid or being missed entry, then they weren't paid in time, so he missed some opportunities to order some stuff dating back in December that probably had an effect on some of his sales opportunities, I'm guessing, with some product too. He did start the THC in December as well. That I'm a little surprised. We talked about this yesterday, how slow it was based on the feedback we were getting from him to encouraging it to be sold and carried. So in December, they sold about $500 worth of it, and netted about a little under $200 in profit. And then it was even less last month in January. So my advising of that was to not order anymore until we figure out kind of how he can market that product to the community and what he's able to do or not. He still hasn't put a lot out there, just some signs up in the building. So once we can figure that out and then kind of reevaluate what's there, so I asked him to not order anymore in the meantime. There's no sense in ordering something that's not selling. January was better, and again, I don't know if January is quite accurate because would inventory affect that final net, by the way? That's one thing I didn't ask Carissa today. But on this number, they did.
It shouldn't have affected it because it's basically invoices paid.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Were the invoices just missing and not paid? I asked him this yesterday. He wasn't sure. He thinks that everything that he had was in. So I'm assuming that it was, and it was fine. So with a 16,000 net profit for the month of January, that was much better.
Well, he didn't, because he couldn't order, he didn't have invoices.
Right, he didn't have,
So,
because of the circumstances of getting invoices in previously, he missed 2 weeks probably of ordering, I'm guessing, maybe even more, of getting more product in the door, but they still had some revenue and sales from that. So,
But the 16, you gotta realize that's the, what do you wanna call it, the benefits that are reverted back in
right.
in January. It's not all from just from sales.
Right, yeah, that's this coming back around. So if you take, what is it, 10,000?
Whatever it
So
was.
it's still a better
Yeah. I guess the
showing, so to speak.
only question I had is, everybody, we got the email for for December, but is that really correct? Because the auditor was looking at that one. She said that the numbers weren't correct. It showed the year for X, but really, you were telling me, I mean,
our numbers were correct.
so when it showed the $30,000 profit, it was correct. She was wrong. Okay, good.
Yeah,
That's
so
good
the
to hear.
year-to-date
That's good to hear.
should hold
Okay.
true, which is a little less than last year, but again, going back to the fall when there were some
So
struggle
30,000
months.
It was a 32, but that, you gotta remember now, that doesn't show any of the, which we talked about, that anything that was spent, like when you budget for something in the building, new furnaces or whatever, that comes out of, that's basically sales of goods, if you wanna
Right.
call it that. Right?
But that, but I think the Lions rent is included in that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that was, I just figured that out today. That was 28,800 approximately.
For the year?
Yes.
For the-
Yes.
That was.
Well, that would show it in that, what's on that, look in that December one, it would show it. So their operating income, and it should be higher than that because we got interest.
But she didn't cash the check in December. She didn't cash the check until.
Well, but, so let's just say it's off 1,000 or something. What does it show for, through, the one that she sent out for us? I don't have it on me, and I can't find the email. What does it show under other operating income? That's where it's listed.
$43.40.
No, I'm talking in December.
36,000,
How much?
36,844, or 744, other operating income, interest, et cetera. The year-to-date, right? Or the month?
What page are you on?
Turn the page.
I'm in
The previous document.
the December reports that were sent out by email.
Oh,
Yeah,
that,
36,060.
Yeah, that's including what you said on the Lions,
So
and plus
28 of
interest,
that coming from
plus,
Lions.
and then the interest, and,
Yep.
okay.
okay.
So, it helps. And that's, no, sorry, I said the wrong number, you're at 36,744, I looked at last year.
Oh, yeah.
My bad.
That's
So-
36.5.
Consistent to last year, yeah.
And the dates on top are kind of wrong. On the year-to-date. That's-
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
We're in 25 now, not 24.
oh, you're talking about in the January one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I see it.
Year-to-date.
Year to date, yeah. Good point. So overall, that, I mean, I was glad, and I called it out to him that, at least at the moment, we're not showing that loss that, the streak that was there towards the end of last year. There was a health inspector that visited
You got
last
the
week.
report that he's got?
What's that?
The report?
I'm on the report now.
Okay, the inspector and stuff.
So the health inspector came by, and there was obviously some action items here, and I asked him to call out what they were. And it's quite a few. There's a lot of cosmetic things inside, but a lot of cleaning and, I would say, maintenance issues as well that the inspector called out. And I'm surprised, we had a conversation about this as well, that there wasn't more call-outs to the facility and its condition. So based on the feedback from the inspector and the items that need to be addressed, again, from a maintenance and upkeep to a bigger items like patching the walls and the ceiling tiles, I recommended that he reach out and have some quotes put together for cleaning the entire building for the most part, especially the kitchen and the bar area. I didn't say the whole building, but I said, get a price on getting all of those things cleaned.
Kitchen needs a
And
cleaning, just a major.
It is, it's quite a concern if you walk in there, not to scare anybody, but we need to clean. So that should definitely be a top of priority for him, so hopefully we'll have some.
You were saying we could get the guy that cleaned the hood, huh?
That cleaned the hood and the
Remember?
oven and stuff in the auditorium here. He was the best price around, right in Hutch,
That's the guy.
and,
That's the guy we should get.
and that was the first name that I gave him, first name and number. And then there's a couple others that he can call as backups just to compare if he wants.
And I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think, let's say he gives a fair price, I think it should be done twice a year.
Oh, more than that.
I don't know, you need to clean the bar.
No, but I meant the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably should be.
With all that
I think it would
grease.
depend on.
Well,
volume,
the quarterly in the
same.
kitchen or something, and twice a year, just go through that bar in the
I have
bathroom.
no idea what it would cost.
Yeah, well, let's see what
It
they
needs to
are.
be
It might-
considered,
yeah.
Yeah. But
That's
definitely
probably
a
the-
good cleaning through the bar area, like getting behind all those fixtures and.
Right, when you think about it, probably the bar area could probably be a cleaning service. I mean, he's probably specializes in like that
Degreasing.
kitchen hood, you know what I mean? You probably don't need that out there. I mean, it needs to be cleaned, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong out there, but I mean, you're not digging in the,
Yeah.
maybe not
All
his
that stuff.
expertise.
On that note, we're gonna have him look at, putting the towels into that cleaning service, whoever does the mats and things like
Mhm.
that now, if that's part of a service, we'll have,
Just check some things out.
Nobody does the mats, no. The
No.
mats are owned by the liquor store.
well, we gotta find out who's cleaning them then, because is
We are.
Nobody.
so they're getting cleaned maybe in the summertime.
I guess Mike, he's got a good point. When we took that out, what's the expectations how they're supposed to get cleaned? You can't take them and what are you gonna take it out in the pressure washer when it's 30 below?
Right, that's so I don't think they're getting cleaned, is what I'm saying, so,
No, they're not.
yep.
Right.
So if it's worth to have it
Right.
looked at as far as a quote, and put it into the numbers and see if it makes sense. I know he took it out to save some money, but at this point, there's a sanitary missing piece to that.
I mean, just so everybody doesn't go, "Ooh," it's not like it's atrocious, it just needs to be kept up, that's all.
And it'll just get worse
Right.
as it sits, so we don't want that to happen. We talked briefly about the inventory results, which were very challenging. So there was a lot of offsetting information and a lot of variances. We went in and recounted on Sunday the beer to get a better count, and we reviewed
What did it take us,
some
2
of the
hours?
variables. Maybe about an hour and a half of actual counting, I guess. Just beer in the coolers, on the floor. I think there's an opportunity to address some organization. That's going to be worked on. We're looking to that. And hopefully those results will prove better, but we're going to get to a point where we're just get to a 0 and start fresh and get over, move forward. He did do the auditorium counts as well and submitted that over to the city office as well. Ice golf, I guess it went okay. They missed last year's, not last year, because technically they didn't do ice golf last year, but the same day last year, or was it the year before? Because ice golf didn't happen last year.
No, but they did have a little,
They had an event, they
Yeah.
had music and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So they were off by about $600 from their numbers last year. They had a turnout of 12 or so teams, 11 or 12 teams.
Yeah, that's the pools and park. I
Yeah.
see that.
So, but those, a lot of those people transitioned down to
Oh, absolutely.
there to spend some time
And
and
they
money,
played
which is good.
in the meat raffle.
And the meat raffle, yeah, it was pretty impressive, 230, I guess. So there's some things he's already talked about doing differently next time, if that's an option for him. Like, he wouldn't open at 8 o'clock like he did this year. He wouldn't have the DJ probably, but maybe change the times of that, things like that. He's planning to sell and serve beer at the Fish Fry on the first weekend in March. They are planning a DJ and karaoke down at the bar after that evening. He didn't have any issues with that. He said he'll have to set up, he wants to change the position of where he's selling from if it's not in the way next year or this time, and selling upstairs as opposed to down here when people are not able to get back to get a beer while they're eating upstairs. So he wants to move that location back upstairs, for what it's worth. He does have a part-time bartender review as well. I talked to him about that too, because it's for a 1-year review, and he said that he didn't do a 6-month review either didn't do the review or the merit increase because he wasn't ready. That particular employee wasn't providing a lot of time in place or providing a consistent schedule and hitting.
Yeah, I think at that time, if I'm not mistaken, he had said that he didn't know if he was gonna continue.
Yeah.
That's,
So, and because of his other job,
Right.
at that time of year, it took him out of the opportunity to sell here, or be here and bartend here. So I questioned him as far as, well, is this gonna happen again this spring and summer and into harvest, where that'll happen? And he says it might. I said, well, I would prepare for that and plan for that and have that conversation now, so you can work out a schedule accordingly, hopefully. So, hopefully that'll make some headway as well. Lastly, that's not on the report is we're going to initiate some kind of specific plans for the liquor store to kind of get operations back up to kind of, I would say, even beyond par, where they're just consistent and concise, so it's better reporting for everybody and easier operations for everybody as well. So that hopefully will be started and initiated by next week, I would say.
so do you wanna act on his?
Yeah, so I didn't have, that's right here. So, The council action is, we move to approve, where is it, Max Peterson from, I didn't have the actual amount of his grade. For approving for a wage increase to going from grade 11 starting point to grade 11 step 1, and it'll be effective February 17th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Other than that, we just got opportunities to hit down there and
Okay,
that stuff.
alrighty. We'll move on to community development report.
Okay, we had a planning meeting last Tuesday night. Kelvin Brigham was present. He was interested in the city lots, and now he's also working with the guy that owns the old grocery store, Ryan Back, about maybe renting space there. He's going to keep us in the loop with what's going on with that. Also, John and Elizabeth were here, and they are here tonight. They are going to be purchasing the old Catholic church
Come on up.
on Main Street on the east end. And I will let you, well, first I'll say, we have to rezone it to, from a R.
They have updates.
Yeah,
Oh.
we have some updates just in the last
Be
week.
quiet.
Yes. So it's been a busy week.
Okay.
So I'm John McCarthy. I recognize familiar faces from last week. My wife Elizabeth Heikela. So yeah, we live in Victoria, Minnesota. We're looking at purchasing the church property, 102 Main Street East. We came across the property 4 or 5 months ago, and then just kind of stuck in our mind. And then about 2 months ago, we finally went and looked at the property. And the whole time, it's just been, we feel like it has a ton of potential. It's a beautiful building, you know, brick construction, stained glass windows. It's a beautiful space. It's been neglected for sure. It's been sitting for, as you guys know, decades. So it needs a significant restoration. And so we initially set our goals very high. You know, we were thinking, you know, going commercial property, event venue, weddings, things like that. We've been humbled a bit, especially in the last week. You know, as I've been pursuing this is a new field for me. I own a business. I own AMI Swim School, but I lease all of the facilities that we run our swim lessons out of. We have 4 facilities throughout the metro. So this is my first time kind of diving into real estate and commercial real estate, learning the ins and outs of it. And so through a code analysis, which is essentially all the different permits, licenses, requirements we would have, the costs continued to rise, and you know, we kept increasing the budget, but one that kind of broke the camel's back for us recently is sprinkler system for the building. So we knew we would probably need to sprinkler the building, being that it has a capacity over 300. Initially, we kind of budgeted $50,000 to $75,000 to do that. It turns out it's over around $200,000 to $250,000 to sprinkler the building. And so we have pivoted a bit because of that. It's something that we still potentially want to do down the road, but with a closing date quickly approaching and wanting to just feel settled in and like, how could we start small and grow? We would like to move forward with purchasing the property. We've been working with Diane about figuring out how it's currently zoned, but looking at just purchasing it as a residential property, I believe it's currently zoned residential. We're figuring that out. And we would completely restore the facility, the outside, the inside, and start with like an Airbnb, VRBO type of rental setup. That would allow us to have like large groups. So say somebody does have a wedding in town or has a wedding in Hutchinson, a big family or a couple families could rent the facility as a Airbnb or a VRBO. Somebody wants to do a family reunion with a few, you know, family members, like a capacity of, you know, 12 to 15 people type of a setup. And the building would still undergo all of the restoration, all of the renovations, you know, the very necessary repairs it needs. we would make it beautiful, make it a really nice, beautiful property, curbside, so it would be good for the city. And then we'd bring in people, you know, as they stay in the facility, they would go to the liquor store and they would spend money in town and go to the gas station, things like that. For us, being two people that already have full-time careers, it would allow us to try out this side business in a much more casual way than diving headfirst into 300-person weddings. It would allow us to get the project moving, getting the restoration started, with the eventual goal of potentially turning it into a commercial property and doing the event venue side if that's what we decide is best, otherwise continuing with potentially small group rentals. One thing we really want to do with the property is community events, you know, just free ones, opening up the facility, things like that. I'm a big car guy, so I don't know if there's opportunities for like classic car shows downtown, you know, having a space like, yeah, you know, and yeah, bringing people in, you know, free events. We'd like to open the space up, have people just enjoy it. It's when you switch it over to that commercial side and you categorize it as a place of public accommodation, which means it's an event venue for 300 people or more. Essentially, our renovation costs double, like not just the renovation cost, but the entire project cost doubles. And it's just, after a cost analysis, it's just not something we want to do right away. We'd like to ease into it a little bit more. We're financing the whole thing ourselves. We're funding the whole thing ourselves. So I like to start small and grow from there. So potentially we'll need a rezone, but we're not exactly sure yet. I believe.
So, yeah, you said it's zoned residential now? No.
Well, we were, so there's been a little confusion on whether it's zoned public, parochial, or whether it's already zoned R2 residential.
Public parochial is R1. It's a conditional use under R1.
So it may already be zoned, I mean, it sounds like it is zoned R1, so we wouldn't actually need to rezone it to pursue what we're looking to do as a residence / Airbnb, VRBO rental facility.
I think it still has to be changed, because what'd you call it, the parochial, what is it called? There's no tax base on it.
Correct.
It is currently being taxed
Yeah, as commercial.
as a commercial property through McLeod County.
Yeah, that
at
was
a very
last-
high rate.
That was last year,
Okay.
or the 2 years, because they hadn't, the history behind it, there was a group that had church services in it.
Yeah.
And they
yeah.
quit having them, and I guess there's a law that you have to have them so often or else it reverts to something else.
Yeah, I believe the last like 2 or 3 years it's been taxed.
Right, and
Prior
that was
to
the
that, it
reason
was
it got
tax
changed.
exempt.
Brenda told us that.
Yeah.
So whatever, you just have to be, just a name change is all that really is, to R1.
Okay.
All right.
And then, you know, we'll be seeking permits, building permits. I don't know for every toilet replacement, but we'll but we'll be doing significant renovations.
stove.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can hook that up myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I won't go there anymore on that one.
We'll just have to make sure we submit those before
Yep.
whatever that date was.
It's kind of timely that a conversation comes up about that now.
Yeah.
we were very,
Yeah.
My ears perked up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'd be seeking significant amount of building permits. We'd be using a variety of contractors, plumbing, electrical, things like that. We'd be doing some significant restoration on the building. The bell tower needs some mason work. There's cracks in the bell tower. We already have that scheduled for March 10th. But yeah, we just want to bring the property back to life, have it be a beautiful, you know, gem in the downtown area. We just see it as a ton of potential. I don't think we're like crystal clear on, you know, 10 years from now what this property is going to be or function as or look like, but we just want to be involved with it, and we're just trying to figure out the easiest steps to get the ball rolling and get started without drowning ourselves in huge commercial sprinkler system, ADA compliant bathroom, you know, renovations right off the bat.
I knew after we talked at your planning commission, I knew that sprinkler system was gonna knock you
Yeah.
for a loop.
We were ready for
Well-
75,000, we were
Oh,
not
no, I
ready for
knew it was gonna be over,
250.
I knew it was gonna be over 150.
Okay, yeah, so I had gotten some verbal quotes, just like based on square footage for
Well, you
like
gotta-
100, and
You
I was
gotta bring
like,
a 6-inch line in from the street, don't you?
yes, so
Yep.
the 6-inch line, that's part of it, but then the reason it is so expensive is a question mark about water pressure, but essentially to sprinkler, not only do you sprinkler the basement and sprinkler the sanctuary, but you have to sprinkler the attic.
Yep.
And to do the sanctuary and the attic, it has to be a dry system
Yep.
because the piping would be run in an uninsulated area. And the dry system is exponentially more expensive. And so what turned into like a verbal ballpark of $100,000, once we had the actual contractor do a walkthrough, he came back at 190. And then we had two other companies quote it. One was 210 and the other one was 250. And that does not include the new water line, which is another 25,000. So, yeah, and then, you know, ADA compliant bathrooms, right now, it's either we would have to put in an elevator in the facility, which is 100,000, or we would sacrifice one of the offices to create 2 ADA compliant bathrooms, and so it adds up really fast. We thought we had a really healthy budget going into it.
We were so upset.
We were humbled, just this last week, we were very humbled. The sprinkler system really pushed it over the top where we started to feel like, well, this is insurmountable. And so then it was like, well, let's change our mind. How can we get this going? And I think the best avenue is residential, Airbnb. We get to test out what it's like to like rent a facility out. Small groups are much more manageable. We clean the space, they use the space, we come back. We're not trying to facilitate hundreds of people through the building with a liquor license, with, you know, that could all be something that we grow into, but right now it's not, it's too daunting.
So you envision it as one unit?
Yeah.
Like one big rental home?
Yeah.
You're not gonna have like.
We're not
one
gonna
thing
divide
here,
it up,
family,
yeah.
Okay.
So it'd be
Like
a single
apartments.
family home. It'd be a very
Yeah.
unique single
Yeah,
family
well,
home.
gotcha, yeah.
So right now it has 2 office
Big one.
spaces that could be
Right.
bedrooms. And so just the sanctuary floor, would be like a 2-bedroom. Right now it's like a 3.5 bath. But with Airbnb and VRBO, you put how many bedrooms it has, but then you also put how many beds. And sleeper sofas and things like that count as beds. So even though the space is technically like a 2-bedroom, it could be sleeps 14 because there's sleeper sofas, things like that. You think of a big family or a big get together, you know, the parents probably get the bedrooms and then all the kids are sleeping on sleeper sofas out in the sanctuary. It's like a cool, unique experience to
Set it up like a
sleep in a
barracks.
church, yeah.
Just get the bunks.
No, we're not gonna do that.
Well, the basement has room for renovation if we wanted to add more bedrooms. There's some egress work to be done. The windows just need to be changed out and then there needs to be step stools or ladders permanently fixed so that they're egress compliant. But we could add bedrooms to the basement. There's a ton of opportunity in that basement for something like that, and that could maybe be where like the kids are and the parents get
So
the.
you'd have to put a kitchen in there then, right?
Yep, so we were planning to put a bar originally, and so we would plan to put a kitchen in the sanctuary area. It's actually would go into where the cry room is, if you know the cry room. So there'll be a kitchen there. We're gonna put a pool table, you know, seating areas, the little library area. You know, just a really cool. It's almost like if you took like a cool loft, like a really nice loft where you have all your but then supersized it. Like it's a huge 6,000 square foot loft, you know. And yeah, nice TV, kind of movie theater area, things like that. Make it a really unique property for somebody to want to rent and have an experience.
With like the wedding venues on either side, it'd be really nice to
Yeah.
have like a nice Airbnb spot for them to come
Oh,
and
yeah,
Yeah, we did
like
s-
the wineries just up the road, yep.
Yeah, so the existing wedding venues, you know, there's hotels in Hutchinson, but there's not a ton of accommodations available. And we did do research on the Airbnb and VRBOs that can have over like 10 guests. There's like 3 of them within a 30-mile radius. And if you read the reviews, they're all almost groups of like, we were in town for this wedding and we all stayed here, and we were in town for this festival and we all stayed here. And so it would just provide, instead of somebody going to the hotels in Hutchinson, they would stay, here in Silver Lake, and they'd go out downtown and, go to the bar.
Well, I mean, there's some, it sounds crazy, but there's some unique things here in the sense if you had that pretty close to a trail,
Yeah.
paved trail, and, years ago you'd say, well, who would want to go on this lake? But I mean, there's a lot of people that go on the lake now. And
Yeah.
So I'm saying that if they had the kids, there'd be stuff for them to do.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Woodstock would be a good.
Oh, yeah. Full Chesky
Full
Day
Chesky
weekend.
Well, Chesky Day is alone right there.
I know, but we probably want it for ourselves. That'll be a hard one to decide which dates, we're willing to give up, 'cause, but yeah, so, that's where we're at with it. We close on the 26th, and so we are moving forward with it, but it is a much smaller scale than we talked about just last week.
And they found a bell to replace the one up in the.
Yes.
Really?
we got a bell.
Really? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Because the Holy Family took the bell with them when they moved churches.
Okay.
And so the bell tower is currently bell-less. I discovered on our inspection, I weaseled my way to the top.
There's like 6 different ladders up there?
On the most janky ladders you've ever seen, like square nails, like
my.
just barely held together. But I got to the top and then I was sorely disappointed. But I located a bell out of Hutchinson, actually, a nice big cast iron bell, and so we're gonna put it up there, run the rope down, and
Was it the Holy Family Bell?
no, no, it was actually, I think, a farm bell. So
Yeah, big dinner bell.
it's not quite as big as the one that was probably originally in there, but we don't want it to like ring the whole city. You just want to be able to pull the rope and have a bell ring, so and not alert.
We tested it, it is quite loud.
It's quite loud, but
Okay.
not loud enough that you'll hear it
Everywhere.
across.
Well, like they were saying, I mean, I'm just sharing with me that you need some repairs up in the tower or whatever. They're gonna take the brick, right? Off the
Yes.
piers out front and repurpose them and patch them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so our
Smart.
mason, those 2 pillars that used to be the sign, our mason is gonna disassemble them, reuse those bricks to repair the bricks that are broken on the bell tower. So aesthetically, it's not like these brand new bricks on a 136-year-old building, so they'll repurpose it. Our goal on the outside is just to refreshen it. We're not gonna paint it some radical color or anything like that. We're just gonna paint it up really nice, the original, as close as we can, paint match, just restore it. Like, we don't wanna change it, we just wanna make it look fresh and new.
Well, the neighbors to the back are pretty quiet.
Yes, there's quite a lot of them. Yeah.
No complaints there, right?
Hopefully they stay quiet, otherwise that'd be an uncomfortable living situation.
Yeah.
You close when?
Yeah, yeah. Find out it's haunted, so.
Well, good. I'm glad you got other plans. Sounds
Thanks.
great.
Yeah.
The other thing that I found, when I was digging into it, B1s you don't need 2 parking spots for it.
Yeah, Diane connected with me.
Yeah, I dug into that. That's nice. So
Yeah,
you were good on that.
We had some concerns if we did put it as a event venue on parking, and Diane was able to figure out that the street parking and things like that would be adequate, so.
Diane did?
Or, sorry.
I informed
She
them.
informed us. She
I asked all
Mayor
the
Bruce,
information.
yes.
I didn't take your credit.
So no issues or concerns with the parking then now? in that-
No, and we plan to put a driveway garage on, so the north side of the property already has the apron for a garage driveway. We do plan to add a garage to the property, so.
Nice.
Good. So we don't have to do a rezoning or anything? Okay.
Super.
I'm excited for this.
Not for
That's
10
fantastic.
years.
Not for 10 years?
Oh, God.
Yeah, you guys gonna film it all and document the whole process?
I think
We've
so.
been following a lot of YouTube
Yeah,
channels
I
on
was
this
gonna say,
lately.
Yeah.
the Flip a Church channel
Yeah.
on YouTube or something?
Yeah, there's not many of them.
Yeah.
But there is a couple. There is actually some, people who've turned them into their own primary residence. fix them up, and so, yeah, we'll document it for sure. I mean, I'm not sure to what degree, but we'll probably have like a Facebook page for the property, and we'll, all the renovations, things like that, so. I think it'll be a very
History, you gotta do
satisfying
history.
transformation. Yeah.
What it was to, what you made it to be.
Yeah.
And I was at the planning commission meeting, Roxy and them had, kudos to you guys, you're doing it the right way. You came to the planning commission meet, right? I mean, you're saying what you're gonna do, I'm just trying to be really frank, you're not trying to do something on the slot,
Yeah.
you're out open about what you're gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I'd want is to bring something to the area that, the community that doesn't want. I'm not looking for any like fight or anything like that. I want to, do something that I feel that is welcome in the community and stuff like that. And so I wanted to be very upfront with our intentions and,
Good.
and update you this week after things have changed since last week, and, keep you in the loop. And, yeah, we like to get involved wherever we live in Victoria. We do that,
Said you have a cabin too, huh?
yeah, so we have a cabin that we renovated between McGregor and Moose Lake, and so we'll actually be selling that property probably this year.
What lake?
So it's just in the woods. It's 5 acres, just completely secluded in the woods.
During COVID, we ran out of things to do in our house, so then we had to buy something to
Yeah, about this cabin project, and it's like an 800 square foot cabin.
Now you buy a church.
A 1,400 square foot garage, and
That was the other half. John ran out of garage space, so we had to buy something.
we like outdoors. We like fishing. We have a fishing boat, a side by side. We're outdoors people, and so yeah, we like to have our toys too.
Well, you'll fit right in here.
So maybe this will just be your next place then.
Yeah.
Victoria one will be your
Yeah,
project.
well, the garage in Victoria is full, so.
It is full.
Yeah.
We have a rule that everything has to fit in the garage, so if it doesn't fit, we have
It's
to
a
find a new
loose, it's a
spot.
loose rule, but,
Great.
Good.
well, thank you all.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you very
If you
much.
need anything, you got my number.
Well, thank you.
I'm sorry, you're still going.
We discussed the goals and strategies. We are going to be updating them, but that'll take a while. Diane will give us a paper copy so we can scribble and scratch.
I think
On
I
that.
put one in your mailbox.
Oh, did you? Okay, I'll pick it up next week or tomorrow or whenever I get there. Ryan Beck, he was not at the meeting, but he is the owner of the old grocery store in town here. He's possibly trying to get different businesses in one building. Like I said, he was trying to he's working with Kelvin Brigham for this coffee and ice cream shop, maybe a laundromat, and an Amazon order locker. You order
Yeah.
something from Amazon, you go there and pick it up. So he's working on stuff.
That's a good deal, what everybody's running off with stuff nowadays,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And then we have a vacancy on the planning commission, and we had one applicant, and that is Ted Gearing. He lives in Silver Lake, lives in the castle, teacher at St. Francis. And I move to make a motion to appoint him to the planning commission for the vacant seat.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any other discussion? How do we have these set up? Are they 4-year seats, Diane?
I believe it's 3. I did not
3?
put that
Okay.
in here, but
I
I
think
All right,
you're
just
right.
so you know. Okay,
But I remember reading someplace.
okay. All right, no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Okay, then we're
I don't know,
on
hang on, I don't know if she's done.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, are you?
Okay.
Okay,
Will that wrap you up?
yeah. Okay, go ahead, Diane.
Administration. So, page 90, you have the treasurer's report. So the one thing I want to note on that is we did talk about the Fund 418 last time, and I'm waiting for the audit to be complete so that that fund should be zeroed out at the end of 2024 then. So just waiting to make sure there aren't any audit or corrections, adjustments to that as well that I'm.
So-
Which one is that one? I'm sorry.
418 Main Street project.
So we,
Okay.
yeah,
So then does that just revert back to the general fund?
to community development is where the funds have always come from.
Is that where the funds came from for the loan?
Yes. That's the transfer that has been done every year, the $17,000.
And where's that on here? Which number is that one, the community development?
Well, it's general fund.
Okay, that's what it was at, okay.
I have a question. I don't know that we can do this today, and if not, we'll put it on next month's, in next month's packet. And I can give you each a copy, but, so Frank came in today from Molly's, still trying to figure out his gambling or whatever. it
Oh, when he was-
wanting to
yeah.
go over there.
Hasn't done that yet?
No.
Well, so, they're, like, sorry, did I not have quite enough?
You're good.
They're arguing about the words that are in the minutes of the time that you said that it's approved. So, currently, you have on there, currently what the minutes state, and in red is what they want us to take out of the minutes. Because they won't approve him with the stuff.
Oh, he's not saying we didn't discuss, that's what he said, what he's saying he can't have it in
We did
there.
discuss it.
Right, I was gonna say, I know we
And then
did.
because my minutes are thorough and I put lots of information in there, apparently I put more than what they want to know. So they're asking if all that red can be redacted out of the minutes back from, I'd have to look when that was.
So,
February 20th of 2024?
Yeah.
Okay. So they go off the minutes, not the resolution? 'Cause didn't we have it on like written out on a like resolution form where it didn't have all those?
no, I don't think he
No.
never got that
That's the
far.
resolution.
Oh.
No, they needed a copy of the minutes and I have provided these and
Huh.
she keeps arguing with me. I'm like, I can't just change council minutes.
So why would they go off, I'm just curious, why would they go off of the minutes without I mean, the minutes are just conversations. The resolution is the specific
They want
action.
minutes. They want minutes.
This is coming from the state, right? Or whoever runs this thing?
This is from the
You-
lady that was working with him that's trying to help him get this.
Yeah, and I'm sure she's working with the Gambling
Yeah.
Control Board.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what's the problem? Just showing that there's other,
Whatever that is highlighted in red here, they don't want to see in the
but they
minutes.
didn't say why, like, because it
No.
talks about other places that offer it,
They
or?
just told me that needs to be taken out for their,
Like they just need it point blank,
Yeah,
very simple.
yes.
Okay.
don't
White
go into
out.
detail because
Could we just like basically do a new approval that is super basic versus having to go back and change meeting minutes?
can't you just amend them in minutes?
That's what they're asking.
Yeah.
I think we can just amend the minutes to eliminate
I don't know.
two.
I just don't like. going
Well,
back and
underneath there, it
changing
shows there
minutes.
actually was a motion, so.
Pardon?
There was a motion and everything, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
So can you
Could
make
we
a
make
motion
a-
tonight?
That's what I'm wondering.
Doing the
Could we
same
make
thing.
Could we make a
Only
motion, doing the
very
same
basic.
thing, super basic, and then the minutes from tonight will reflect the
That,
super
what
basic
they want.
motion made?
I don't see why not, right? I don't know.
So I guess I'm really curious of what's, which part is wrong.
It just seems as
Well,
basic.
they don't want me to name all the things that they're gonna do. They don't want it to say pull tabs, e-tabs, raffles, and bingo. They don't want charitable proceeds, all of that in red.
Well, but I mean, I'm just saying the description just totally as an example, what is that seed out, or they work with these different sites throughout Minnesota, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that being in there? I'm not saying we keep it in, but what is really wrong with it?
Has anybody checked into this community charities in Minnesota? Are they
Well,
good?
she was here.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was at the meeting.
I've never heard of them.
She's the one that was here with Frank.
I understand, but
Yep.
what Roxy asks, has anybody checked into community charities? I mean, is it a one-person, I mean, they must be state-approved, or else it would never have gotten this far.
Yeah.
Not to beat that horse here. But are they, so, I guess they would just want a new motion, so saying number 2, whatever that line is right there, right?
Yes.
Is the new
Request
motion,
of action
period.
to approve community charities of Minnesota
That-
permit, whatever, to run gambling at Molly's Cafe located at
Sure.
wherever, and that's all they wanted to say. Which maybe somebody who doesn't do details like I do would have probably done in the first place, but
I
Well,
appreciate how detailed
I-
your minutes are.
I can't go back and look at something where I don't have information to look at, so.
but that's what I'm bringing up the same thing, is exactly where I was going, is that we've already just talked about those same things in red. They're already technically,
I'm not gonna put them in there this time.
well, that's what I'm saying, like, if it's not, okay, that's all I'm getting at, never mind.
Yeah. I'm not gonna-
What are you talking about?
I'm not gonna be detailed this time.
You?
You can just go back, you can refer it back to the February 20th, 2024, so that when we want the information, we know where to find it, but there you go. You can say,
Let me say some smart aleck responses.
It
So as
says,
far as,
it says from the state,
yeah,
the city of Silver Lake will need to correct the meeting minutes.
basically, they're saying we can just say yes or no. We're gonna allow you to do it, yes or no.
Yeah. So we just need to make a new motion, or how are we gonna do that? We don't know?
Sounds like it.
yeah,
Well, I suppose somebody could make a motion that hypothetically make a motion that says you're gonna allow community charities of Minnesota, permit number whatever, to run gambling at Molly's Cafe.
you can make a motion to amend the minutes from February 20th, 2024 to approve a request for action, approving community, and whatever they have, and just end it there.
There's not any kind of, like, legal ramifications for doing something like that, right?
Not to amend.
Because I guess we're not eliminating them, we're not going back and just sketching it, right? So we're kind of doing something new. So would
If
that
you
make a
just wanna-
difference too?
Yeah,
Like,
just
'cause-
amend the minutes to state just this little bit. We're not going back and taking them out of February 20th.
No.
We're just
Amending.
Just doing
pass
new
it
one now.
here, and that's what I'm gonna give her, yep. And then we'll see if she comes back again.
Well, I make a motion to amend the minutes from February 2024 to read, request for action to approve Community Charities of Minnesota premise permit LG 214 to run gambling at Molly's Cafe located at 808 Highway 7 in Silver Lake.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. As far as when, whatever they sell them, they just have to follow state guidelines anyway.
Yep. Just like I do.
Right.
And then the final thing I had in there, again, is the Cobb County Planning Commission information for you to review.
So is this all within 2 miles of us?
It's just what they mail me all the time.
They what?
It's just what they always mail to the city.
We only have any voice of anything within 2 miles of us.
Yeah, so most of these are Hutch, aren't they? Bergen.
One's Glencoe.
Does not affect us, but I give it to you now for your information.
Okay. All right, that's it. Anybody have anything for open discussion?
Well, I have something, but I don't know if you care.
Why you
You was in Bruce or you was in everybody else?
Everybody else. So, at the December meeting, you terminated me as an employee, but actually, the state statute 410-.191 says that only full-time employees should be terminated if they are on the council.
Full-time, right.
Yep, but I was only part-time, and you terminated me.
We were going, if I remember right, we were going through everything, people that we went through
Like 12 people?
12 people that hadn't done stuff for 2 years or something. We
Right.
took them off, right.
But that's not my fault I wasn't asked to work up there for 2 years.
Well,
I was
I'm
there
just saying,
for-
the reason, you're asking why it was done, that's what, I'm not saying right or wrong, that's why it was done.
But instead, now they closed the city office, and I don't think they should do that when they're both gone.
That's a separate issue, and I agree with you.
Yeah, we should bring that up. The city office should not be closed. Somebody should be there when they're on vacation.
That's why I'm working Friday. But when I do it, I don't charge. I'm just saying. But I don't know how to, I understand what your question was. And I've brought that up numerous times,
Yep.
that it should be kept open.
I agree, it's good for the hours to be consistent, for the public to be able to access City Hall when they need to.
Well, I guess my question is, I'll have to ask Diane this, you didn't need, I'm just asking, you didn't need help for, it must have been over 2 years, because that's what we did it. Right?
I think you said 22 months.
Okay, I don't know, I thought, is that what it was?
I thought that's what you said.
I said? How would I know when you were?
At the council meeting, you said.
Well, maybe it said in there that it was
Yeah.
22 months.
Could be.
I was reading the sheet, I wouldn't have known off the top of my head. Right.
But just a point.
Right.
So
I'm
we
still going
are-
back and catching up to where you're at. I'm just now remembering going through the list of.
Yeah, you guys were
The
here.
other ones were,
Yeah, I was barely, I was
Right.
here, but not,
because I think the other ones were ambulance, or,
Pool.
Pool.
A lot of
Pool.
pool.
Yeah, there's a lot,
Pool,
yeah.
muni,
Old
different
couple.
stuff, yeah.
Well, I guess I'm gonna be really, Frank, was there an issue working together that she didn't work for 2 years? I'm just, or 22 months, I'm sorry.
2 years, whatever.
Yeah, but you know what I'm getting at.
No, Carissa and I have just been here, so it is different now. Carissa
Got a family now, yeah.
more responsibilities, and right now I have doctor appointments with my daughter, so we are having a few times when we are both gone. So this week is one of them. We will both be gone Thursday and Friday. But when we are gone, Chris works out of the city office, so it's still open.
What happens if there's a snowstorm? What are you paying him an hour to sit there?
There's no snowstorm in the
But he's
forecast,
working on his
so
computer.
it's gonna work.
He's working on his computer and stuff. Well, he was studying for, last time he was studying for the pool test.
Okay.
So is that where you were down for before? Just part-time?
Yeah, part-time.
admin?
When Carrie and Krista,
Christie, wasn't it?
Christie? When they worked there, then I would fill in if somebody was on vacation. And when then Diane and Carissa started, then they didn't have any vacation, so I didn't work. You know. But now,
And then COVID jumped in there.
yeah. So,
So I guess my question, where we're at now is technically, if you're interested in doing that, and if you feel you need someone, you'd have to reapply, and we'd have to open it up. I mean,
Post it.
I'm just saying,
Yeah, we'd have to post it with
I'm
how
not
things
saying
are now.
anything about you or anybody else, but now it's not there, so I feel we should have someone that's on a part-time fill-in deal.
On call, so to speak.
Right.
I mean, God forbid, you're sick or something.
Well, yeah, and that way you
Something
can feel
about
like you
that,
have to
it's
go
not
somewhere and,
just a vacation thing. yeah.
and there's gonna be times when whoever's doing it, whether it's Roxy or whoever, that they're gonna have, she has all of a sudden a doctor appointment and they're not available, it still would be closed, but it's gonna minimize it.
Yeah.
But I think we should, I think is we should say we're opening it, we wanna look for, open it up for a part-time. We have to do the
Yeah.
steps here to do this stuff, we
Yeah.
can't just say,
You just gotta go through the process. You
Right.
can't just say,
Do-
here, you're back.
Do we have a job description for like a part-time office person?
Do
Do we
we?
have anything that's sort of vaguely administrative? So we probably would need to pull something together to make it official.
well, but do we, it's,
Or
Yeah,
something,
yes.
like we have to have something to
it's
post.
basically when I'm just saying,
Yeah.
when I'm in, all I'm doing is I'm working on different stuff and I'm just answering the hello, and,
Yep.
or I guess licking stamps or whatever that one day for 300 people, but, we're not licking them nowadays, you don't. But what I'm saying is we don't have a job description for someone that's used, so how
Yeah.
about snow emergencies when someone comes in, be it
Yeah,
these guys, we don't have that, we don't have job descriptions for them.
yeah.
And this would kind of fall into the same thing, just
Mm-hmm.
that they come in when it's snow, this person would come in,
Yeah.
not very often,
Now
but,
call administrative assistant. There's
yeah, I mean, we don't have to go
Basically,
sit there and make up a
Just
whole
something
job
to throw
description.
Yeah.
a title on it or something.
and
Yeah.
all I did was, enter the water bills,
Mm-hmm.
lick the stamps.
I ain't kidding you,
usually
it's
don't.
shocking how many there are.
Yeah, it's a big
As long as you
stack.
put them on straight, that's.
Oh, I know, I
I'll
will,
look at it.
I will.
you
And then
didn't-
if the invoices are coded, then I enter the invoices. Ransom reports.
I feel like for what I guess what in my mind what I would envision for the part-time person would be, because it wouldn't be happening that often. So I feel like it'd be really basic, like answering the phone, being
Like what
there
I'm
in the
doing.
office, exactly.
Taking
versus
money,
like
that's really all that person should
versus
be
running
doing.
running the invoices and everything. Like I feel
Yeah, I
like
would-
it'd be basic versus like logging into the computer and going through stuff.
Right, and if that person was qualified to do it and they wanted them to do it,
Yeah.
fine, but I don't think it would be a requirement.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree.
I
with
think that would be up to,
Right.
Diane to say that this
Yeah.
is stuff that's gonna need to be done, and if that's.
But you gotta
how
keep
you
that
do
person busy for 8 hours.
Yeah, well,
Well, you can bring a crossword puzzle if there's nothing, if they don't have tasks
Well,
for you to do.
I'm not that
Which
sort
is
of
why
person.
we have Chris sit up there now, because he actually can answer the questions of people who come in, because he knows what's going on. Anybody else who's in there, our answering machine can do the same thing as the person who says, I don't know, let me write it down for you. I mean, I have my computer with me, so I respond to emails.
Yeah, but if it's your time, that's not something you should be doing on your vacation time and stuff.
are you trying to
It's
say
not
you
a
don't need a
vacation.
part-time
Oh, okay.
person? Is that what you're saying? I mean, if,
I'm not gonna say that it is never needed. Because, yep, you know, if you weren't gonna sit in there on Friday, well, Chris probably would, but, you know, but yep, Thursday and Friday, Carissa and I both have to be gone. We both have things we have to be at. So, yep, that is a time where
And that happens when you're both gone.
it
you know?
it does now. It hasn't in
No.
the 2 years I've been here. Very rarely it would close if we both had to go to a meeting for a couple hours, but it was never closed for a day because we were both gone. We don't do that. And
Yeah, there's a difference
Carissa-
too, because I deal with a lot of cities, what we do. I mean, there's nothing uncommon about all of a sudden they're closed for 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Right.
when it's closed for a day.
Right.
Right, I mean, somebody wouldn't come in for 2 hours and do something, they wouldn't have to call somebody in.
No.
Right,
Now you understand, we both have to go to the same meeting,
right.
or one's on vacation, you have to go to a meeting for 2 hours, yeah, I'm not talking about that.
I think it makes sense to open it up and put the position back there, and then it's available, it's there, it's that person's on call.
Where is it listed, and I know it is, where's it listed in our pay schedule? What's it listed under? Like
I
a
don't know if
part-time
it is.
bartender, or what is it?
I don't remember seeing
Oh, I don't
anything
remember.
like that on there, actually, but
Because that was 10 years ago I got hired.
It was only 2 months ago that you were
I
fired.
think it's probably longer than that already.
No, when I retired from 3M.
I don't think I have the,
Well, that's the first thing, I mean, I don't think we got it, I think we should get that on the radar, because I think there's a reason, I have a strong feeling that we need it, is because it could be used twice a year, who cares? But if somebody if, God forbid, something happened, somebody went in for back surgery, there we'd be sitting, now what are we gonna do? And the reason I want that out there is because going forward, if someone, let's say they're gone, and somebody is gonna come in and complain, I'm just saying, with this project, they're gonna wanna see a face.
true. Or it'll be another thing, oh,
Well,
well,
they'll
I
be
tried
beating on
to
my door, which I
express
expect, but,
Yeah.
no, but what, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Or, they can come and say to you, can you make sure you let those people know we couldn't get to our place? People are gonna wanna be heard. You know?
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think post for a part-time position and see if
Right.
anyone else is interested, and we'll follow it that way.
But I don't even know, so it's not listed anywhere, huh?
I couldn't find the
Pay scale.
the pay scale. I don't remember where I saved it at.
Okay, well, let's come back with the next, can we get some info together for the next meeting, and we'll get it out there? Okay. Because, I mean, really, it's not, we don't have to, I don't feel we need to go through a whole hiring process. If there's other people, we can just, this isn't a department head, like the liquor store manager or the city clerk. It's kind of like hiring a bartender.
Yeah,
I
or
mean,
the
don't take it the wrong way,
lifeguards,
but
lifeguards or
it has to be
whatever.
approved, but it doesn't have to go through this whole.
Yeah, yep,
Okay,
sure.
does that answer your question? Okay. Anybody have anything else for open discussion?
Playground. I
Oh.
met with Pools and Parks, and I actually meet again with them tomorrow. We were talking about some ideas, and there was one aspect that they wanted to specifically have me run by you guys to make sure that as we're talking about what the playground will look like, that there were no concerns about it. So we have that corner, right? The aspect that they are thinking about is they look at things that are in the catalogs like balance beams or like when you see kids playing outside, you see them climbing up on rocks and on logs and stuff, and that's great. Now, when you look at the stuff in the catalogs, it's like $1,000 for a fake rock and $4,000 for a fake log. And they had recently come across a couple of, like at the Arboretum, they have like a natural play area where it is actual logs and rocks and even like a old fishing boat that's like buried half in the ground, like a small one for kids to play with, like amongst other structures. They really liked the idea of that and incorporating that in kind of some of the spaces between the structures, which like hopefully we're going to replace the playset structure, replace the carousel with something else. So in between that, kind of incorporating like a log, a couple of rocks. We can talk to a farmer and get a real rock instead of paying a couple $1,000s for a fake one. Of incorporating some of those more natural elements between the actual structures for like the little kiddos to play on. So, what do you guys think of that idea? Do you feel like it fits in the park? I think it will be
So would they keep
fairly
it in the same
cost-effective.
area, or
Oh,
it
yeah.
can be expanded farther out?
They might expand a little bit further out, but really ideally keeping it in the same area and really filling in maybe a little bit more between, which might actually make maintenance and keeping it nice way easier, while also still making sure like when people are walking to music in the park, like there's ample space for that. So we're gonna work on some like drawing up like a diagram or a sketch of what it'll look like, so you guys can have a better idea. But that's the basic.
I guess the question I had, I was
Yeah.
glad you're saying that. I walked over there, must be 2 weeks ago. What is gonna really be different? What I'm saying is,
Not much.
well, my question is when I look at it, and I would say, you're gonna laugh at me, but I don't understand why like 50% of that can't be salvaged and reused. I mean, it's nice to have a brand-new car. But what I'm saying, if you put something in there, I mean, is any of it in the plan gonna be wood that'll discolor and look just like that in 3-4 years?
We're not gonna do a wood playset. We're gonna do, kind of like the one down at the pool.
Coated.
I'm not trying, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to say, if you did it in 3 or 4 years, it would look just like that anyway.
Exactly, yes. So we're keeping the swing set structure. The swing set structure,
Oh, okay.
swings are fine.
Oh, okay, so you are keeping some of it.
Yes, absolutely. So the
okay.
swing structure is fine. They had that welding work done. We might replace like maybe, or the S hooks have to be replaced. I mean, that's a couple
Peanut,
bucks.
yeah.
Peanuts. Adding an ADA swing beside them. We're applying for a grant. A grant closes end of February that we're gonna apply for that. Fingers crossed on that. That we get funding for the ADA swing. The sandboxes, we want, if we keep, the sand area is great for the littles. We want to make it a little bit cleaner, maybe add borders back in, get that a little bit cleaned up. Hopefully, maybe move it into one pile, so that we have a few ideas on that. Carousel, safety reasons, we do feel that should go. We're thinking of maybe like a climber or a rock wall or something. Something like fairly low cost overall, depending on budget. Potentially one of those, like a short zip line where it goes in a track. That's another option. I know the one at the Hutch Park that they have is super popular. So, I mean, I would say they're probably like 10, 12, they come in different lengths, but it's like a handle, it goes on a track, it's not like a zip line, so it's safer. But that's an option. And then the playset itself. The other aspect they are really interested in, and this is something I've heard from people in the community I've talked about, is having a little playset for, the 1 to 3 year olds that they can play on kind of in their corner. And I found a couple of options for that. So having a larger structure and then just a little one off to the side for the littles.
No, that's good to hear, you're gonna reuse some of it, okay.
Oh, absolutely. And the spring riders, those will stay. Those are a heck of a lot of fun when you see the kids on those. Whew.
That
Adults.
carousel, that's been there for
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Fun
For-
for adults too.
Hey, sure. I've seen adults on those. Yeah.
Why?
I seen it on my way home from the chicken tent.
The other thought they had is, I don't know the condition of the large tree that they are taking down in the corner as part of the project. They're having to take out that one really large tree on the corner. Their thought was potentially we could use that tree for like the logs or balance beams or whatever in the park. I don't know how feasible that is, because my understanding is the contractor's just going to come in and tear them all down. And if we were to cut it down ourselves in advance, what do you do with it before it's ready to use? So I don't know if you had strong feelings on that. It's mostly just
No, but I like the
logistics.
idea that, well, it's a tree that came from the park.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, and that was
repurposing
the
it.
thought too, like repurposing it. So that's the thoughts.
So what, I think you brought it up and it was, what's your What are you gonna put on the ground?
EWF, so
What is that?
engineered wet wood fiber. So there are a few options. The rubber mulch, there's a lot of concerns about that as a carcinogen. There is the poured in place rubber, but you have to put that over like typically cement, and that gets very expensive very fast. So best option overall is the engineered wood fiber. The product I'm looking at is the 100% Tamarack, which basically it molds as they tell me, it doesn't mold as fast and it just holds its integrity longer. So that seems a good
So
option.
it's basically the same stuff you use mulch around a house.
Basically, but a little nicer.
Yeah, I think cedar mulch is more expensive too, which is another slow molding. It does well with that, but it's really expensive too, so the Tamarack is
Yeah, it's like a good,
better price point.
yeah. So,
Good.
any thoughts?
I think a big boulder there would be great.
I think, anything to make
Kids
it,
would bounce off that, just like they would the plastic ones.
Absolutely. It'll last longer. So we'll find a couple farmers.
well, you know, the
ask
truth
them.
of the matter is, you might have a point, less chance of them getting hurt on these things versus a solid rock.
I mean, I feel
I
like
think
these are
it's solid. I think the plastic would be more
slippery,
Slippery. Be
yeah.
out there.
But there's probably a little give to it. Much give in a rock bottom
Kids have
here,
softer heads, so they'll bounce either way.
but I'm sure we can find rocks.
Oh, yeah.
No, we're not.
We got
Big
a
rocks.
rock on the south side of the park. Where did that, that came from,
It's the one that's right over where the fountain used to be.
yeah, but that came from Merrill's lot.
And I think you'd also be strategic too about where you place the rocks, like not in the direct line of travel between two structures where kids would trip over it all the time. You know, well, we'll try to be smart about it.
Maybe they'll pull some out of the construction project too, out of the infrastructure.
You never know, do you?
Eh. So that's
Maybe
where things
something
are
down
at.
by-
There's a lot of things we're gonna pull out of that project.
Yeah, probably not what we want.
What were you gonna say?
No, they probably have one down in the southwest corner where we gotta go out in, what you call it, Ryan's deal, or who knows what's under there, by the lake.
Oh, yeah. Could be, yeah. So that's where we're at with that.
Okay, well, if you're deciding you're gonna want the tree, you better,
Get a move on. Because they're marked already. It's gonna be one of the first things they do in the spring, I'm sure.
well, they might come through and take the whole works down at one time.
Yeah.
For the whole project. I think for the price they gave, they'd almost have to.
Yeah. Okey doke.
Joanna, did you get the package or envelope that's in your mailbox?
I did not. I had some issues with the door again being pulled. But I
Pull
figured.
it towards you.
Is that what I need to do? Okay.
But you can't get it to unlock?
Yeah, it was too cold
When it's
again.
cold.
But it was late at night, so I didn't call you to let me in, so.
Okay.
But no, I'll grab it after, if you don't mind.
Okay, anybody have anything else?
I should have probably brought this up during,
I guess they should have.
kind of go take the pool and parks thing. Chris did mention that the filter over at the pool is kind of aged. And one thing they need to look into is cleaning up whatever the material is in the filter.
Wasn't this the sand filter we're talking about that we,
That we're already getting replaced.
yeah.
Oh, it is?
I don't know, is it?
Is that the one?
Yes. I've talked to Chris about the sand filter.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah, I thought that's in part of that, whatever was budgeted for this year to get changed.
Yeah.
If that's, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Or is he saying there's something in there that needs to be cleaned up or something?
Well, my understanding is like the filter itself was gonna be quite expensive.
If it's a sand filter, that's expensive. That was like 15 grand or something.
Yeah, but that's in the budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I thought it was gonna be more than that, so.
Oh, really?
I thought it was 20. But all I know is I thought this was all, I don't know.
Price is right rules.
I do know once it warms up that I got that fan for them, that they really wanted to get that fan in that boiler, or that room to get the heat out. And I got it for them last July, and it's still sitting down there, so.
Need it tonight.
Well, let's not wait till they're open and then Because I think it transfers that heat all the way through that, you know. Is there anything, was that you or who had it? Were they gonna be wanting to paint this thing or something? Or you guys were getting tables or?
Oh, a desk and lifeguard chair.
But I mean, really, that stuff should be starting to work on
I got
April.
the
Is it ordered?
got the links for it today.
Oh, did you?
from
Okay.
Becky, and I sent it to Carissa. I don't know if she ordered them.
But, well,
So,
she can order it
got
next
the
week when
links.
she's here.
Yep.
Okay, well, you know what I'm saying, sometimes, some of this stuff takes
Yep.
8-10 weeks.
And we had told Becky about it.
Yep. I told her it's a good time for Public Works to be putting it together.
Yes.
There you go. Not scratch it in the meantime.
Okay. I'm sorry, we didn't mean to interrupt you. Is that the only thing you had?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.